Hey, what's up? It's your girl Sequoia, Silicon Valley tech editor for Black Enterprise and the host of your podcast, BE The Code. And we are here with Rochelle, the founder of Liquid Courage. Hey, what's good?
Man, I'm here at the Black Enterprise Tech Connect.
Yes, live and direct.
Live and direct in the Bay Area.
Hey, what's good? So I saw your product. Yes. I love your product, but let's talk about your product. What made you decide to start a makeup cosmetic line?
Well, I worked at the #1 consumer packaged goods company a few years, for 8 years, and did not really see myself in the brand, and I felt that was a problem.
Okay.
And so when I moved to the Bay Area to work in tech, I thought that would be a great opportunity for me to really address all of the things that I felt that they were doing wrong.
Okay.
One, not having, representation of not just minority women, but people with different skin tones.
Nice.
But also,
I like that you say that though, because people like to group minority women into like one category, like we all look alike.
No, we don't. We don't. And we have different undertones. And it's not just about the diversity as it relates to like ethnic diversity, but lifestyle diversity as well.
Let's dive into all that. Yes. Let's unpack that.
Yes.
So first of all, the one thing that I want to talk about is undertones, because I just took my first makeup class yesterday, day before yesterday. Girl, I'm still, we ain't all the way there yet, but it's a process.
Yes, it is a process.
But so one thing that I learned was about undertones, and they said I have cool undertones.
So what? Cool, sexy.
So what exactly does that mean? So I know my skin tone is on the brighter side. So, but what does that mean for my makeup?
Well, that means that cool undertones, that you can wear some really fabulous colors, right?
Oh, nice.
And so one of the things that in terms of my lipstick line is that I wanted to make sure that there was lipstick, high pigmented lipstick for everyday women like yourself. So for the cool tones, you can wear a great red and blues. So blues really look good on you.
Okay.
And so I think that that's just really one of the things that you can do when you have like cool undertones.
And what about warm undertones for the people who have them?
Warm undertones are like orange colors. So I have like a great color called Hawaiian Fire, and it definitely like brings that brightness out of the skin tone. So that's one of the areas. So you just got to play with it, and your skin changes over time as well.
Right.
And so it's important for you to continuously dissect and understand like what your skin tone is in that particular season. So I think the first step
that's interesting. So seasonal too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as you age, depending on the place that you live, like when I moved from South Florida, which was very hot and very humid, to the Bay Area, which is like kind of like hot, I experienced like changes in my skin. And so I think that you just need to be aware of those types of changes happening.
Interesting.
Yes.
And so let's dive into lifestyle. So what does that look like from a makeup standpoint?
Well, for me, I am targeting women like yourself, Sequoia, right? You are on the go, obviously, right? You are you're on the go, you're like tackling life, career, and everything in between.
Right.
And so you don't have time to like reapply your lipstick 3, 4, 5 times a day. And so I was very deliberate in terms of formulating the actual product. So my lipsticks are highly pigmented.
Nice.
And they're also a matte finish. And so that means that you don't have to apply like all the time. Like,
I love that.
My focus is I want you to apply once and maybe touch up at the in the evening. So that's what I talk about, lifestyle, and making sure that the woman that I'm targeting knows that, hey, I'm thinking about you.
That's so interesting, because even back to my makeup class, so we went from like a day look to a night look. So what do you recommend in terms of like colors if you're doing like on the lifestyle front, right? If you're going out in the day versus like what you should be wearing at night?
Well, I am like one of those girls where I was a tomboy turned like beauty enthusiast. So I'm really all about like that natural like makeup look. So like even now I'm just wearing foundation, got my eyebrows on point, and and with a bold lip. And
Okay.
I think that that's a great like daytime look,
Okay.
right? Because at the end of the day, you can't, you know, sometimes show up to your 9-to-5 job and you know you got your eyelashes up to here, right? And so, but like you can, you know, transition that by just adding, you know, eyeshadow,
Right.
and that completes your night look, right?
Right.
But I'm really into like the no makeup look right now.
I like
Yes.
that. I like that. And so with that being said, with your hues, I saw that you had like a really, really wide range. I know that there's a conversation in terms of nudes. What do you, let's talk about that. Like, what do you recommend in terms of a makeup line who's coming to market? So let's talk about Rihanna's line.
Okay.
She came out with every single hue for our skin tone, right? So I saw that with your line, you had the nude range. Do you feel like that's covering us? Do you feel like there's more? Like, how do we make sure that we're covered in those areas?
Well, I think that the first thing is that we have to be invited to the party, and if we're not, like my girl Solange says,
Blow the party.
get your seat at the table.
Yeah.
And I think that what she's doing is really, you know, really inclusive and really drives us to think about diversity and inclusion in a very different way. Like, why should anyone be excluded from the beauty conversation, right? And so, like, back to, I don't think that all nudes are created equally.
Yeah.
And so, just like her, I think about my diversity of friends. Like, a color on me that's you know radiant on me may not necessarily work for you, may not necessarily work for, you know, some of my, you know, girlfriends that are Asian, or my girlfriends that may be from Greece, right? And with olive skin tones. So one of my purpose is to make sure that every woman can see themselves wearing at least one of my lipsticks. And
Beautiful.
I think that I've done a great job doing that.
How did you, so, I mean, of course you woke up and were like, yes, I need makeup. But like, how did you actually start the process of launching a makeup line?
Well, the great thing is that my background is in supply chain. And so for the last 15 years, I've like dedicated, like that's my craft in terms of brokering deals, really forging relationships with suppliers. And when I worked in the CPG space, the consumer packaged goods industry, I forged a lot of relationships because at the time, this particular company held one of the major beauty iconic brands. And so when I decided to kind of venture off on my own, I'm like, let's leverage these relationships to actually do something for me. And so that's how I started.
Okay.
And it was great having like understanding supply chain, having relationships, and because, you know, I learned about beauty really late in my life, I was able to really track and trace like what are some of the different beauty needs of women that are like myself.
Okay. And with that being said, you said you came from the supply chain space, but what about like the formulas? Like, how did you know that's, like, to me, it's so foreign, right? Like, I want to start a makeup brand,
right?
But how do I know how to make the formulas? How do I know how to do the color swatches?
Right.
How do I, like, what is that process?
So I think that it's all about having a team, right? You're doing this broadcast and there's amazing people behind the scenes that are helping you make it. I think that is being crystal clear on what your core competencies are and really, you know, going out and seeking help. So in my case, I'm not a scientist, and so I'm not a biologist, and so I worked with those types of folks on the formulation.
Okay.
But I did know what was very important to me. Like, I don't want my red lipsticks to look ashy, because that's one of the things that a lot of women of color talk about. I wanted to make sure that, you know, it was a matte finish, because not only is that on trend right now, but I know that that helps in terms of the long-lasting, long-wear aspect. I wanted to make sure that there was, you know, great materials going into and raw materials feeding into the formulation. So I think that once you understand like what your ingredient story, what your package story, what you want that to be, then I think it's an easy thing to then find those relationships and the folks that are good at doing that and saying, hey, let's do that. And it's test, and test. Okay. Right? And that's what
How many times did you have to test before you were like happy with the product?
I'm never happy. And I think that that's one of the things in terms of business that you have. It's a continuous iterative process. That's I mean, staying and listening to some of the sessions here at Tech Connect, a lot of the companies that that you put on blast yesterday, like it's this crawl, walk, and run, and so I think I got the product to a good place in terms of selling, but I'm constantly getting feedback, constantly talking to my customers to figure out what can we do better on our
list. Love that you talked about that, because sometimes people create businesses for themselves, right? And they kind of forget about the customer. Like they won't necessarily reach out until they feel like they're happy and satisfied. But you have to start with the customer first.
Absolutely.
Like from the very, very beginning. So absolutely. I love that you spoke about that.
And a lot of people think, because I have an e-commerce platform, and folks think that, I'm behind the wall, this mad scientist, and, you don't talk to customers just because you have a e-commerce or virtual, I call myself a virtual beauty marketplace. Yeah. But that doesn't stop you from engaging with the customer, right? And so I've created like this community, whether it's on Facebook or bringing my community online to offline through like power brunches that I have actually started last year. I think it's an important part of your creative process to actually engage with your customers virtually and even in person if you can.
That's so smart. So I like that, because a lot of companies you're seeing do that, actually having an offline community that's not like in direct correlation to the product. So it's not like I'm coming to sell you products, but like let's go meet and see who actually is engaging with this product. Yes. And then you get to learn the customer persona. You get to kind of get a feel for the customer, and then you know how to target them better.
And you got to do it in a smart way, right? Because nobody wants to feel like being sold to every time. Like how many like ads do you see when you're visiting your most favorite social media platforms, right? And so I think that as e-commerce companies, we have to be smart about how we choose to engage our customers. And so like with the Power Brunch, I love technology. I'm here at the Tech Connect, but I feel like sometimes our days are being inundated with technology. And so the purpose behind the Power Brunch was to really create this community where we're having an empowering conversation to uplift women that want to take their personal brand to the next level. Beautiful. So that's I love that. And actually the former CMO Rochelle Parham of eBay was one of my previous speakers. Really? So shout out to her and eBay.
Very, very nice. That's hot. So I like to play games with my podcast. Okay. Because I like to keep it live and interactive. So one of the things that I want to play with you is 2 truths and a lie. So you're gonna tell me 2 truths and 1 lie. Okay. And then I'm gonna decide which is which. Okay. And you let me know if I'm right or not.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So 2 truths and 1 lie. Yeah. I've been to Santorini, Greece.
Hello. You're fancy.
My cousin once was the co-president of Haiti.
Okay.
And I am 40 years old.
40, Greece, Haiti. 40 is the lie.
That's the lie.
But tell me about this trip to Santorini.
Oh my gosh. It was actually for my 35th birthday. My husband and I started our trip in Paris. And then,
nice. Yeah. Which is massively the fashion capital. Yes. So you have to tell me if you got any tips and tricks in terms of beauty while you were over there.
I was there to relax.
You were like,
and
girl.
Eat. I actually ate at my first Michelin star rated restaurant while I was there. But then I went to Santorini and it was a dream. So
beautiful.
I'm shouting out Santorini because
I've seen I have not been.
Let me tell you, it's one of the
and I've seen amazing photos.
It's one of the few places where the actual postcard looks like, I mean, you can literally step out and you feel like you're in like a postcard.
Ooh,
it's just,
you're making me ready to vacation.
It's beautiful.
In time.
Absolutely, it's beautiful.
But back to that, Europe has an amazing foundation in terms of beauty. So do you pull any references from there, or any other continents, any other countries? Like, where do you pull your references in terms of what you want to make for your products?
I think it goes back to like being like very targeted on the people that I'm serving and asking them questions and doing surveys. But I mean, I pull inspiration from everywhere, whether it's, you know, watching my favorite show on HBO, or, you know, looking at New York Fashion Week and Tiana Taylor doing her thing on the catwalk. Just really like staying focused on like what's trending, but also being very deliberate about what my customers are asking for, because sometimes you know, folks can venture off too much, and I think that when you lose your base, when you stop talking to your base, then you're giving them something that may be trending, but it may not be something that your particular target base doesn't want. But you know, my family is from the Caribbean, and so I definitely pull, like, you know, from the influence of the Caribbean and other places that I travel.
Haiti? Yes. Oh, nice, nice, very nice, beautiful. So, what's next for the product line?
Well, I think that it's, like I said, it's an iterative process. I'll continue to expand the Power Brunch series. That's been very successful for us. Also looking to, you know, have forged relationships with a lot of the beauty subscription box companies.
Oh, nice.
And so that's something.
Let's talk about partnerships.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. So tell me about how you're forging these relationships, because people definitely need to know.
Yes, I say that if content is like king and queen, like, you need partnerships, especially when you're like a startup. And I think it's important where you can actually, if someone has like a big audience. So one of the partners that I've worked with is a mega beauty subscription box. And they approached me and we collaborated. They have like over 21 million beauty subscribers on their box, and that was a great opportunity for me. And it was just doing what I'm doing here, networking, attending summits. I love going to, like, you know, different events surrounding the Bay Area, or if I'm in the city, and I'll look up if, you know, some of my favorite beauty enthusiasts, bloggers, you know, if they're doing anything, or request some time with them. So I think that it's really about, you know, fostering relationships, being deliberate about, hey, how can I maximize my time here at a summit or a conference, and just really having something that you also feel that you can bring to the table, right? No one wants to feel like it's a one-way, you know, one-way thing, right? So every time that I approach a prospective partner, I think about what value can I also bring to that partner.
Awesome.
So
beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Rochelle. We really appreciate you sharing Liquid Courage with us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your time here at Tech Connect.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's Sequoia with BE The Code, and we are live at Tech Connect.